Hello guys, welcome once again to Immigrate with Ammy. In some of our previous videos, we've been giving you a lot of opportunities in Australia. One of the reasons why we were sharing those opportunities is because we realized that the Australian government has actually published a lot of policies which aims at attracting the best professionals, to fill up some of the vacancies that exist in different sectors of the economy. For you to actually for your application to be effective, for any job that you want to apply for in Australia, your CV or your resume needs to be in the format that is being used in Australia. So that is why we are doing this video, just to show you guys the CV formats that are accepted in Australia, and just for you to understand how you can structure your CV in that format, because maybe the softwares that they use to actually screen applicants, or the HR managers who are taking a look at the CVs, they are used to the Australian CV format. So if you are submitting your CV in a format that is not like the Australian format, that could actually lower your chances of getting a job. So in this video, we'll be looking at an Australian CV looks like, and then how you can structure your CV in that particular format. So basically in Australia, they have three broad types of CVs or resumes. And then so the first one is called the reverse chronological, which is the most popular and is actually the best. And then you have what they call the skills-based CV. And this is ideal if you are going to be changing your career. So if you are moving, or you are applying for a job in a career area that is different from where you used to be, which is the skills based. And then the third one is more or less what they call the combination format, which is more or less complex, and it's like I would say a mix of both the reverse chronological and the skills based. So we'll take a look at these three CV formats, and I want you to pay close attention so that you can also see how you can amend your CV to look like one of these formats. So let's start from the reverse chronological CV format. So we will go through this. So this is just like a general format. So I mean, just for you to see how the CV looks like. So imagine the name of the guy or the applicant is James Highland, so you can see the role that he is applying for directly under his name, and then what follows that is the applicant's contact details, the phone number, the email, and then the LinkedIn profile. And then after that, the applicant does like a summary of himself. So you can see that. So it's just like a one paragraph straight to the point summary of who you are professionally. And then after the summary, you can see that the person now highlights his or her experience in detail, starting with the job description or the job title, product owner. And then you can see where the person worked as a product owner, then the timeline from March 2022 to February 2022, right? Under each job title, under each job experience, the person also highlights the key qualifications and responsibilities. So don't talk about your job description, also talk about structure it in a way that shows what you actually did, not what you expected or what you were expected to do in that role. So for example, you can see how the sentence is framed. I managed backlog and ranking to drive the team through the project life cycle. So this is actually a description of what the person did, not just a general job description, right? So make sure that you also structure your key qualifications and responsibilities in this format. Then for all your job experience, make sure you also add a key achievement. This is more or less the impact that you made in that role. So apart from what you did, what is actually the impact of what you did? So employers also look out for this key achievement to see, what was the impact of your role in that particular company. So you can see that the next job experience as a junior product owner, follows the same format as the first one. Okay, after the work experience, then you can talk about your education, right? The program that you studied, the school, and then the time frame, right? And then after that, you can make a list of the essential skills that you have, especially those that are suited to the role you are applying for. Okay, and then after the skills, then you can see the certification. So the name of the certification, where you got the certification from, like the body that is handling that certification, and then the exact month and year that you got that certification. Okay, and then after that, you can also list out the languages that you speak, and then of course in the end, your interests or your hobbies. Okay, what are the things that you should include in this first CV format called the reverse chronological? So you should start with a heading, okay, which contains your personal details. Then after the heading, you should have a personal statement. Okay, so this can either be a summary of your experience or your career objective in case you don't have experience. Okay, then after your personal statement, of course, you should highlight your career history, and you shouldn't go further than 10 or 15 years of experience. Okay, so make it the most essential ones. All right, and then after your career history, you have to talk about your education. Okay, and you have to start with the highest degree that you earned. Okay, then in your skills section, you have to list the skills you possess and which connects with the job description. Then after the skills, you can add other additional information like certifications, awards, hobbies and interests, and then of course if you have references, you can add the references to it. Okay, so this is actually the most common, and if you're drafting your CV, it's best if you leave it in this format, okay, for an Australian job application. But let's take a look at the second format, which is actually called the skills-based CV format. Okay, so let's take a look at this hypothetical CV, okay, of Jamie Highland, who is a product owner. So in the same format like the first one, it starts with basically the details of the person, so the name, the role the person is applying for, and then the contact details, and the email and the LinkedIn profile. Okay, then also instead of the summary, you can put an objective. So what is it that you are looking forward to? What are you looking for? Why are you applying for this role? Okay, so you talk about yourself as imagine this person says ambitious, self-driven product owner, certified project management professional, excellent as aligning the business, blah 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 blah, and then it says seeking a career opportunity at deal to drive high income results. So make sure that you state your objective while you're applying for a job in that particular company. Okay, so after the objective, so instead of now stating your work experience, you state the summary of your skills. So in this case, you can see that the person actually highlights his skills under the relevant headings. So first, under project management, he talked about the skills and what he was able to achieve. For example, under project management, he effectively prioritized the goals and incoming tasks with the product team using agile methodologies. Okay, so this is a description of the skills he has in project management. Okay, and then after project management, he also highlights the skills he has in user experience, and then also in communication. So these three broad categories of skills, project management, user experience design, and communication, is what is actually needed as a product owner. Do you understand me? Okay, so let's move on. So after highlighting the skills, then he now talks about the experience. But you will see that in this CV format, in the skills-based format, because you have already highlighted your skills Okay, you don't need to give details about your experience. So just your job title, the company, and then the timeline is enough. Okay, so you don't need to give any details about your achievement and all of that. You can find a way to compress it in this skills summary. Okay, so when you are now highlighting your work experience, just list out your experience. You don't need to add the job description or your achievement to that. Okay, and then after the work experience, then your education, your certifications, the languages, and then that's it. Okay, so in the skills based format, how do you prepare your CV? It starts with a header, just like almost every other CV format. Then your career objective, okay, why you are applying for that job and what you are looking towards achieving. Then your skills summary, okay, this is where you need to list out and enumerate the main skills that is needed to do the job and the descriptions that you are applying for. Okay, then your work history. So in this case, you are only listing the entries of where you work and the dates, nothing more than that. Then your education, additional information such as your certifications, language skills, relevant interest, and then your references. And then the last type of CV format for Australian job application is what they call the combination CV format. So it's like an hybrid of the first two CV formats that I've mentioned. So let's go through this hypothetical CV, okay, for Jamie Highland. So it starts with the details of the person, the name, the role, the phone number, the email address, and then the LinkedIn profile. Then a summary, okay, like a professional summary of the applicant, of you in this case. Then after the summary, then you highlight your skills. Okay, so the skills also explain them under broad categories, like for example user experience design, and then you can do like 2 or 3 bullet points. Then communication, and then if you have another one like project management or data analysis, so you can highlight these skills under separate headings and then use bullet points to quickly enumerate them. Okay, then after the communication, you also, after the skill summary, then you now need to talk about your experience. But in this case, you are not just listing out your experience, you are also adding the key qualifications and responsibilities. Okay, so you can see that it's a hybrid of the reverse chronological and the skills based CV format. Okay, so imagine this person has an experience as a product owner. You can see the company, the date, then the key qualifications and responsibilities. And then so you can do that for maybe 1 or 2 related roles. Then you can talk about your education, okay, then your certifications, languages, and that's it. Okay, so for the combination CV, you start with a heading, then a summary, like a professional summary. Then you also continue with your skill summary. So you give an in-depth list of your resume accomplishment using the skill in question. Okay, then after that you can now talk about your experience with like 5 to 6 bullet points describing your achievement, and then your education, your additional sections, whatever it is you want to add, like your certifications, your volunteer experience at co, and then of course the references. Okay, so guys, we've been able to go through the 3 major CV formats that is useful or that you can use to apply to any Australian vacancy. So I really hope that this is actually useful for you. Okay, so please don't use the CV format that you had before. Make sure that you adapt your CV to any of these 3 formats so that you can have better chance of landing a job in Australia. So guys, thanks for watching. If you need like a specialized support on creating your CV or writing a cover letter, you can reach out to Immigrate with Ammy and you guys can discuss that in details. Okay, don't forget to also subscribe if you've not subscribed to this channel. Also make sure you like the video. I believe the information is good and useful for you, and make sure you also share it with your friends and your families and whoever you think this could be beneficial for. So we look forward to hearing your good news, okay, so that we can also rejoice with you. Thanks guys for watching. Have a lovely day. Thank you.